2 grams penis envy psilocybin mushrooms, y'all, or golden teachers. They're the same strain, it's just a different name for it. The reason it's called penis envy is because the mushroom looks like a fucking penis. Penis envy mushroom is about 3 to 4 times more potent than traditional psilocybin mushroom. And this was my second trip off of psilocybin mushrooms ever. I've had one right before this, and it wasn't a 2 gram trip, but it was penis envy. That was a disaster. This one was also a fucking disaster. I didn't learn my lesson. First of all, first things first, before I even get into this story, if you're ever going to trip, or if I influence you to trip off of this video, do your research on how much you should do for your first time. Have a trip sitter. Do not use penis envy. Please. Honestly, if you're just like looking to get into drugs, dude, and like you've been smoking weed and you're trying to get into something a little bit more potent, I would start with amanita mushrooms before you jump straight into psilocybin mushrooms, because it's a whole new world that most of y'all just won't be ready for. Sorry, I got some fucking nose, I see that shit. Anyways, sorry, not most of y'all, none of y'all. If all y'all have done is smoke weed, you haven't done much research on psilocybin, do not just jump straight into doing psilocybin. Start with amanita, that's what I did. I had like 10 amanita trips before I actually tripped off real psilocybin. How I actually finally got to tripping was my fiance's brother found a plug. Like, it was like a head shop, but technically it was a plug because they didn't sell to everybody. They didn't sell the psilocybin chocolate bar to everybody. And also, you know, we were underage kids. So we might as well just call it a plug, right? It was a smoke shop, but it's the plug for real. And Indian niggas, you know what I'm saying? So my girl's like, yo, I got this chocolate bar, and my brother says it's real psilocybin. And this guy's done like real psilocybin in the past. He's done real mushrooms, like not even chocolate bar, but like the actual shrooms. And I'm just like, okay, well, we've never done that before. Let's do it, right? And that was my first trip ever. That was the Alexandria trip, and I'll do that in a different story. But we loved that trip so much, even though it was so chaotic, that we decided to do it again with the same bar, same brand. We were gonna go like to Ocean City and rent a hotel, or a motel. Rented out a Motel 6, 2 nights. We bought 6 joints and 2 chocolate bars. 4.4 grams in each chocolate bar, 2 grams in each joint. We get this Motel 6, cheapest fucking motel we could find, right? We just went for the cheapest one, and it was like $150 for both nights. It was $150 for both nights, as in like $150 each, so like $300 total. When I got there, the fucking dude tried not to let me in. After I'd been sitting in the car waiting for the motel to open for like 6 hours, because I got there so damn early. He tried not to let me in, dog. He said I wasn't old enough, and I was like, dog, call somebody. Like, motherfucker, I know that I can have this motel. I'm 18, right? And he called somebody and let me in, and I was like, all right, fuck, thank fuck. Immediately, it is the fucking weirdest motel I have ever been in. I've never been in a fucking motel before. I've only been to hotels. If I've been in another motel before, I would say it's the weirdest fucking motel I've ever been in. It was fucking weird. Like cracks on the edges of the roof, like the corners, like you can see above the ceiling kinda. First thing we fucking do is go in the bathroom and smoke a joint. We planned to trip later that night. We weren't gonna trip right away because it was still pretty early. We're smoking a joint, and then we go out back to the like main like area, the room where our beds were, and we're watching Street Beefs, if y'all know what that is. We're watching Street Beefs, and she claims she hears 3 knocks on the door, right? And I'm like, what? I didn't hear that. And then she claims she hears it again. And at that point, I like take her serious, right? I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, why am I not hearing this shit? Fucking hell, dude. My pants are falling down. My umbrella's falling. I need to fix this. And then we paused the video, and she was totally right, dude. There was 3 knocks on the fucking door. Like, super distinct and, like, super quiet. And, like, as if somebody wasn't even trying to, like, get us for anything, but like rather like just let us know they're there, because it was so faint. And I went out there right away and there was nobody there. So we started looking around the room, seeing if the mirrors are like double-sided, and we started looking in like the shower head and all kinds of movie bullshit, right? See if there's cameras in here or some shit. And we look in the drawers and we found a Bible. I haven't read through the whole Bible, but my girl has. And she said the Bible was just not in order. Some of the pages were ripped out. So we're just like, all right, maybe we should just leave. Maybe we're just paranoid. Let's just leave. Oh, she did do one thing first, though. She texted this girl named Saida, who's like a witch, but she likes her. And she was like, is there any negative energy in this room? And she was like, She just told her to cover the mirrors. So that's what we did. We covered the mirrors with some blankets. At this point, y'all, don't trip. Don't trip. Go somewhere else to trip. It's not gonna be a good trip. And it was a horrible trip, and it's still the worst trip of my fucking life. Take it from me. If y'all are paranoid, go somewhere where you don't feel paranoid. Never trip at a Motel 6. Okay, let me fucking let me continue, bro. Shit, my phone's gonna fucking die. This sucks. I'll finish y'all later, bro. Alright, bro. It's been like 3 fucking days. Yeah, bro. We went to the fucking carnival. We just need to get the fuck out of there. And on the way home, she's listening to all these fucking serial killer documentaries, dude. I don't know why. I wanted to tell her to turn it off, but I didn't. Just because, like, I didn't want to say, oh, I think it's gonna affect the trip or whatever. Because then I feel like when you say shit like that, it actually like will. So I just didn't say anything. I just let her play her serial killer documentaries on the way back home, like right before we started tripping. And dude, I just had a bad feeling. I don't have bad feelings before I trip. I mean, I've only had one trip before, and like I don't want to say I had a bad feeling. Like I knew it was gonna be a crazy fucking trip. I just fucking knew it, but I didn't think it was gonna be bad. This trip, right before I started tripping, dude, I just knew it was just gonna be a bad time. I don't know why. I just fucking knew it, but I did not want to say it. I felt like if I said it, it was gonna happen. So we get there, we split the bar, and it's 2 grams each. I mean, y'all, like, this wasn't the highest I've ever been. The highest I've ever been was my 4-gram fucking penis envy trip. But this was the highest I ever thought I was gonna get. Alright, I've never been this high. At that point, I'd never been that high. I was not ready for being that high. I didn't even know there was that high, okay? I got so high. I got so high that I can't even really explain to y'all like everything that I was feeling or seeing. If you look up 2-gram penis envy visuals on YouTube, I'm sure you can find it somewhere, but you'll never understand. You'll never understand what it's like to be on 2 grams of fucking penis envy. My stomach hurt. I was so nauseous, and you know, it's not that bad. The only thing that's fucking it up is the nausea, because the nausea wasn't this bad last time. I mean, I was really nauseous, guys. I usually don't get that nauseous anymore on shrooms, but the nausea was kind of fucking me up a little bit. But I still was having like a decent time. Me and my girl and I, you know, we were looking at how the fucking TV looks, because it looks fucking dumb. You know, we're just doing stupid shit. We're just looking around. I got caught in a loop. My girl and I, we were laying in the bed. I get up from the bed, and the floor is so fucking soaked. And I didn't know why, because I didn't understand why. I figured it out way later that it was because my feet, the bottom of my feet were sweaty. Because when you take shrooms, your palms and your feet, they sweat a lot. And I figured that out later, but at the time when I was tripping, dude, I was going crazy over the fact that there was water on the floor, and I didn't know why. I didn't realize my feet were so sweaty. I was going crazy that I couldn't figure out why there was water on the floor. Like, I mean, dude, because in my mind, I was like, am I sweating? And I was like, no. And I was like, even if I was, I'm definitely not sweating this profusely to make this floor this soaked. So for like an hour straight, I just went back and forth over and over and over, trying to figure out how water got there. I was losing my fucking mind. I got caught in a loop that way. After I got done pacing, the trip was horrible at that point. The trip just got horrible after I got caught in that loop. I couldn't get out for like an hour. And then after that hour was over, I just went straight back to being nauseous as fuck. I mean, I was in the bathtub. I wasn't even kneeled over on the toilet. I was that fucked up. I was kneeled over in the bathtub. I was so nauseous that my like eyes were rolling back and like my fucking tongue was coming out. Like I lost control of what I was doing because I was so nauseous. And this is when it gets really trippy. She pulled her phone out to text her dad for whatever reason, and I said, no, that's not a good idea. I said, we shouldn't text anybody. We made that rule at the very beginning. I said, if we get too high, let's just not talk to anybody. I think that's what you should always do. If you're super high, don't text anybody, okay? Because you might say some stupid shit. So I was like, you shouldn't do that. And then she kept trying to do it, and I kept on trying to tell her not to. She kept trying, and I kept telling her not to. And at some point, the room's like this, right? Bed, door, bathroom. It's just one big room. So I'm over here on this bed, and she's over here behind this other bed, and she's texting her dad.
or she's about to text her dad. She pulls her phone out to text her dad. And I close my eyes and I open them back up. And the next thing I know, I was over where she was with my phone in my hand, trying to text my dad. And I didn't remember how I got there. And she was in the bed. And that continued for like the rest of the trip. The rest of the trip, I just kept on. She kept on doing stuff. And I kept on trying to tell her not to do stuff. And then I would forget what happened. And I would be where she was, trying to do whatever she was doing. And she would be where I was, trying to tell me to stop. And that kept on happening. That kept on happening for like I said, the rest of the trip until 6 a.m. It felt like I was becoming her. Not even, it felt like I was her. Because every single time I tried to do anything, all I wanted to do was stop doing what she was doing, which was trying to text people and like tell them we need help or whatever the fuck. That's what I thought she was trying to do. And I couldn't do it because every time I told her to stop, I would all of a sudden be doing the same thing and not remembering why, not remembering how I got there. I would just be doing the same exact thing as she was, and she would all of a sudden be trying to tell me to stop. And that's all we did. We just kept on saying, why won't this stop? Why won't this stop? Why won't this stop? And we kept on talking like zombies. We were just like, what was that thing we were saying? We were like, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Like, we were talking like zombies. Actually, I was just like walking around in a circle going like, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. I was losing my fucking mind, right? And she kept on going like, no, stop. No, stop. No, stop. All right, bro. It was fucking creepy. It was weird. It was weird. It felt like I was straight up possessed. I lost control of my body. I just kept teleporting. I just kept on teleporting and not knowing why I was doing what I was doing. Around 5 a.m., I was convinced that we left at some point and we got in a car accident and we were so high that we didn't even realize that it happened. And now we were stuck there in that motel and we were going to be in this perma loop forever. That's what I was convinced of. I was convinced that we had died and we were stuck and we could not get out of this loop, because in reality we actually could not get out of that loop. We were so deep into the loop we didn't even realize that it was happening, and I didn't remember why I was doing anything. And I kept on doing the same thing she was doing. I was totally unconscious of it. I was not trying to do it. I was actually stuck in that loop, so that led me to believe that I was going to be stuck there forever and there was no getting out, and I died and I didn't realize. And I convinced her of that too. And that's actually what got us out of the loop. Yeah.
I convinced her that we got in a car accident and we died and we're stuck here now forever and there's nothing we can do about it. And
she just gave up. At 5 a.m. we were laying in the bed. We finally turned the lights off. The room was a fucking mess. I don't know how it got. It took me 2 hours to clean up, y'all. It was a small motel room. I don't know. There was shit everywhere. But she finally fell asleep, and I'm cleaning this room, right? So at some point during the trip, I remembered this Reddit story that I read about salvia trip. And it was where this dude smoked salvia and lived this alternate life for like 30 years. And the way that he got back to his reality was he found the salvia in the attic in his other life, and he had to smoke it to get back to his reality. And I was like, I know what it is. We're in an alternate life right now. That's what this is. And the only way we can get out of this is if we eat the other shroom bar. That would get us out, because I remember that story from forever ago where that dude smoked the salvia and he got out of his trip. And I was like, that's the only way out of this. That's how I get us back, or else when she wakes up, we're just gonna be stuck in this again. Because we were still tripping, like full on. I was still full on tripping. I still had all the visuals. It had been 7 or 8 hours by that point, but I still had all my visuals, and I was not came down at all. So I was like, I need to eat this to get back. Now, thank God, I waited until I was done cleaning the room, because it took me 2 hours, and I came down a little bit during those 2 hours, and I woke my girl up and we talked. We tried to talk about what happened, but during that time we were trying to talk about what happened, more time passed, and by that point I realized it was a bad idea to eat the shroom bar, right? I realized, okay, maybe I'm okay, maybe this is actually reality. All right, my girl and I are talking, we're not in a loop anymore. Maybe I don't have to eat the other shroom bar to get back. And finally, that was the end. I went to the bathroom. She just fell back asleep. I went to the bathroom. I put on Where Is My Mind, and I just fucking I just fucking sat there, fucking looking at the fucking roof. So I was so sweaty. I looked manic. I was a mess, y'all. Nausea was really fucking me up. But at the same time, y'all, I have eaten 4 grams of penis envy before. In chocolate bar form. So like that's like 17 chocolate squares. If y'all know the polka dot bar, I've eaten a whole polka dot bar before now. And it's the same thing. It's just penis envy. And I didn't have nausea. And I don't think that all the time when you do shrooms, it's actually the shrooms that make you nauseous, because whenever you're I don't know why this is, but whenever you're having a bad trip, you get nauseous. Whenever you're having a good trip, you usually don't get nauseous, but every time you have a bad trip, you get nauseous. And if you can make the trip go from bad to good, usually the nausea goes away. It's like the nausea isn't even real. Once you know what I'm talking about, know what I'm talking about. But yeah, anyways, I think that's the reason we had a bad trip. And what to do not to have a bad trip, y'all? Don't trip at a motel. If you're having a bad trip, make sure you vocalize the fact you're having a bad trip. That's all I can say, because that's the only 2 reasons I can think of as to why that trip went bad. But that was the worst trip of my life.
Sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it, man. Yeah. Alright, boys. I'm gonna get out of this bitch. I'll see y'all next time.